President Trump announced that Boeing is receiving a $20 billion Air Force contract to create the nation's next generation fleet of military aircraft. The plane, known as the F-47, will be built over the next several years, with production already underway. Here is a rendering of what it will look like.
The F-47 will be the most advanced, most capable, most lethal aircraft ever built. An experimental version of the plane has secretly been flying for almost 5 years, and we're confident that it massively overpowers the capabilities of any other nation. There's no other nation. We know every other plane. I've seen every one of them, and it's not even close. This is a next level.
Before the announcement, Elon Musk and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth met at the Pentagon. Musk's visit became a point of contention after reports that it would include a briefing about the military's plans for a potential war with China. Now, those reports were quickly dismissed by both Musk and the Trump administration. CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe joins us now for more on this. Ed, what else can you tell us about today's announcement about this new fleet of military aircraft?
Well, Lindsay, it's important to point out that this announcement from the United States comes as there have been reports, a lot of social media chatter, and some images seen of what's purported to be China's work on its sixth generation or next generation aircraft. And so this announcement comes in the wake of those revelations that China may already be flying models of their version of this aircraft that will become usable in the next few years. The F-47, named aptly for the current 47th president, is still several years away, but this multi-billion-dollar contract awarded to Boeing now publicly acknowledges what's already been underway for some time at the Pentagon, and that is planning for this next-generation aircraft. Next-generation in the sense of the size and scope of the engine, the computing that can be done, the stealth capabilities, whether or not it'll work alongside drones or not. You heard Air Force officials who were in the Oval Office with the president talk about the long-range capabilities of it, the fact that it can deploy faster and possibly take care of some military operations without the need to deploy troops. That's all sort of in forward, future-thinking war planning that's been underway for several years, and that the United States, the military, Congress, at least those that track defense spending would argue, is well behind on when it comes to its biggest adversary, China.
Ed, Elon Musk was invited by Secretary Hegseth to the Department of Defense today. There have been conflicting reports about the purpose of the visit. Why was he there?
Well, they're still conflicting, let's put it that way. That you saw reports last night from the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal saying that it was specifically to cover advanced war planning for China, as the Pentagon does all the time, war planning, scenario planning of all sorts. But to discuss China specifically, that you saw administration officials, including Secretary Hegseth and the president, quickly suggest otherwise is perhaps a signal that maybe that was indeed part of the plan. Was it ultimately? Not clear. Hegseth and Musk alluded to it being partly about the ongoing work of the Department of Government Efficiency and Musk's desire to better understand some of the Pentagon's planning. He was only there about 80 minutes or so and pointed out correctly that he has been there plenty of other times because he is a defense contractor by way of SpaceX and Starlink and his other projects. So he's no stranger to the building. The concern, of course, is that somebody who is an unelected senior government official working at the behest of the president may have been read into some incredibly top secret or classified information this morning. And that may have been part of why sources were eager to get that information out before the meeting, to let it be known that that was at least the initial plan. Hard to say ultimately what was discussed, at least at this hour, but it was notable how quickly the administration stepped out to suggest it was not, as originally reported, just about China.
One of the buzziest phrases from the president's first administration, a travel ban in the news again. What can you tell us?
So we're waiting for some kind of an announcement of countries from which people would be banned from entering the United States, a list of a handful, about a dozen or so red countries from which they would not be allowed. Afghanistan, notably, was on one reported draft of those countries. It is unclear whether that is coming today as initially expected or whether there may be a few more days before final information is given out. But you're right, this would in essence revive a Trump 1.0 policy of banning travelers from certain countries deemed too dangerous or perhaps home to terrorist organizations or other dangerous entities. And if they're not necessarily from a country that's outright banned, there might be additional or much more rigorous screening of people who are trying to get into the United States for whatever reason. And we'll wait and see whether that comes today or early next week.
Ed O'Keefe, thank you so much.